All right, I have 6 people that are joining now. And we are recording. Everybody's on. We're live and we're recording.
All right. This meeting can be accessed via Zoom or the city's YouTube channel. If there's anyone who would like to address City Council or comment during this meeting, you must access the meeting via Zoom to comment. For safety precautions, if you would like the Zoom link to join the meeting, please email the Clerk of Council at KZEILMAN@WYOMINGOHIO.gov. This information about how to obtain the Zoom link has also been included on the City Council agenda for tonight's meeting, which is available on the city's website. When joining via the Zoom link, please raise your virtual hand to comment or address City Council. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Wyoming City Council. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Averett?
Here.
Ms. Stancorp Taylor? Mr. Delgado?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Mr. Leroy?
Here.
Mr. O'Reilly?
Here.
Mayor Hoffmeister?
Here. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. They are approval of the May 17th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes, approval of the May 24th, 2021 special City Council meeting minutes, approval of the May 24th, 2021 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes, approval of the June 16th, 2021 special City Council meeting minutes, and resolution authorizing the City of Wyoming to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Transit Infrastructure Fund Program and to execute the contracts as are required. Do I hear a motion with respect to the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Having been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
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 Those opposed? The motion carries. We'll now move to special reports. Are there any questions or comments on the special reports? Jim, do you have a report from OKI or First Suburbs?
We're going to have a very interesting summer leading into September. The decisions are being made by Ohio Department of Transportation, District 8, regarding the Millsdale exit. This has been going on for at least 12 of my years on council, and it appears that there will be a September public meeting at which the discussion will be how will the traffic circle, which is going to be built on the exit from I-75 South, how will that feed into Millsdale? Millsdale, as you recall, is part of the city of Cincinnati. Across the street is East Mills. It then goes across the railroad tracks into the city of Cincinnati's Hartwell section. I'm concerned, and I have expressed my concern to Tommy Arnold of the Department of Transportation. I'm concerned that the traffic coming southbound will get off, find itself confused by the traffic circle, and go west on Millsdale, ending in Burns, turning right on Burns, and then left to continue west along East Mills. I say I'm concerned because I don't know how the traffic will actually go through, and I don't know what the consequences will be for the residents of Burns and East Mills. So it's a topic that we'll be paying close attention to. Tommy Arnold is attentive to it. But of course, the city of Cincinnati has 5,000 street miles to deal with. This is the very, very northernmost point of the city's Hartwell neighborhood. And the city is not interested in spending a lot of effort on this. Rockland, for its part, has its own issues. And one of the issues is, of course, the burial in the area between the current Cooper exit and Millsdale, the burial in there of certain hazardous materials that were processed in the 1940s, 50s, 60s in that area and then buried on site. I don't think the city, I'm sorry, village. I don't think the village of Laughlin is going to get too excited about the traffic circle. I know from my conversations that the city of Cincinnati is not going to get excited about the traffic. But it is something I think we need to pay attention to, we need to participate, and I've been talking to a number of people in the city about it. We just don't have the ability to handle truck traffic coming westbound if that traffic is coming off 75 at a time of high intense traffic. I'm concerned about that, and I hope that between now and the public meeting sometime in September, we will have active community participation in opposing the Millsdale traffic. We don't know yet what's going to develop, but I want the members of council to be aware of it, as it will be a significant issue, particularly for those for Burns, East Mills, and particularly for those who are along the pike there, because there is no traffic signal at the corner of East Mills and Springfield Pike. So we don't know what will happen, but we are working on it. It's something I've been involved in for 14 years, I guess, if you count the northbound exit debate. We've had a number of issues, but this is one of those in which OKI will probably get involved, and I'm hopeful that my interactions at the executive committee of OKI will enable us to get attention from the Ohio District. That's what I wanted to report.
All right. We will now hear a report from the acting city manager.
Well, I hope everybody's having a good evening. I just wanted to go over a couple things. First, I want to start with the Independence Day schedule of events. This year's theme is Step Up Your Parade Game, and you can register for the parade at the city's website. So check out our website, wyomingohio.gov, and you can register if you want to participate in the parade. The parade registration for neighborhoods and the staging will begin at 11 a.m. on Wyoming Avenue there at the Village Green. The parade actually starts this year at noon, so which is a little different than in the past, but the parade on the 4th of July starts at noon. And then we will have a block party at the Village Green from 1 to 4, including music by Greenlight Morning. I'm sure they're fabulous. So then we will have the fabulous Rosie famous fireworks at Oak Park at 9:45. The parade route, if you want to line the parade route, it starts there on Wyoming Avenue at the Village Green, goes up to Wyoming, or goes up to Springfield Pike, goes north on Springfield Pike to Wentworth, and then it comes back east on Wentworth to Burns, south on Burns, back to Wyoming Avenue, then back to the Village Green. So come out, check it out. Should be a great day. A couple other things. Also, in addition, the city offices will be closed on July 5th for the holiday. The Clark Avenue reconstruction project is underway. The new water main will be installed and filled next week. Once purity tests on the new main have passed, the contractors will start to connect the individual houses to the service lines. Another exciting development, spearheaded by the fire department, our fire chief, Dennis Brown, is the city in coordination with the Hamilton County Public Health will host an outdoor vaccination clinic with the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccinations. We'll have that on June 24th and July 15th. Those will run from 3 to 6 p.m. and they will be at the Village Green. No appointments will be needed. A couple other things going on. We do have our Live on the Green. It's a free concert this Wednesday, June 23rd from 7 to 9. And then Saturday night, we will have a movie on the Green. And for all those who want to come watch Scooby. So have a great week and thank you.
Rusty, how many trees came down on Clark?
3 trees came down on Clark.
Is that what you were expecting, or?
Yes, that's what we were expecting. They had been identified specifically for one of them, root problems were actually the roots of the tree were growing into the street there. That had to come down. And then the other two, health of the tree was in question, and how they would survive the project and the damage that would be caused to the roots. So 3 trees did come down. The rest should be saved. And I can tell you that during the pre-meeting, we did speak to all the residents that came about care for their trees and the exposed roots during the project. They all received handouts on how they can help care for their trees. And then we'll be contacting them additionally through the project to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect the rest of the trees.
Great, thank you.
Are there any council committee reports not otherwise on the agenda? Are there any special committee reports not otherwise on the agenda? We have reached that point in our meeting where a citizen may express an opinion, make a statement, address a concern, or ask a question on any subject that is not otherwise on the agenda. If there's anyone who would like to address City Council, you must access the meeting via Zoom to comment. For safety precautions, if you would like the Zoom link to join the meeting, please email the Clerk of Council at KZEILMAN@WYOMINGOHIO.gov. This information about how to obtain the Zoom link has also been included on the City Council agenda for tonight's meeting, which is available on the city's website. When joining via the Zoom link, please raise your virtual hand to comment or address City Council. Please state your name and address before addressing City Council. Comments will be recorded into the minutes and passed along to be addressed by the appropriate staff or City Council committee as needed.
I have no raised hands, Mayor.
Hearing none, we will move on to the next item
I
of
just
business.
got I did just get a raised hand. Do you want me to
All right.
allow it? All right. Kevin 2.
That would be me, Kevin Cooper. I'm at 614 Hilltop Lane. I'm curious what is going on with the potential hiring of the new city manager. Is the search still going on? Is Mr. Rusty Herzog in the running for it? Can you lend any information as to what's going on there? I guess that would be directed towards our mayor. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll answer your question. Yes, the search is still ongoing. I don't want to get into specifics on individual candidates, but the search is still ongoing.
So would it be safe to conclude that Rusty might be going through what I would almost consider an interview process, acting as city manager for the number of months he has been? What are your thoughts on that?
We plan to treat every person the same, regardless of who they are, and they all follow the same process.
Okay. Well, good luck, Rusty.
Thank you. I have no other hands, Mayor.
We will now move on to the next item on the agenda, the business section. A report from the Planning Commission on the special use permit application for Hearts of Stearns Bed and Breakfast Establishment located at 333 Oliver Road. Turn it over to the Chair of the Planning Commission, Mr. John Boss.
Thank you, Mayor Hoffmeister, members of council. Our June 15, 2021 report confirms that at our June 7th, 2021 meeting, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend that City Council approve a special use permit for the operation of Hearts of Stern Estate Bed and Breakfast at 333 Oliver Road, also known as the Stearns property, with waivers to allow for 5 non-resident guest rooms and up to 10 non-resident guests. A little bit about the background. Chapter 1197 of the Wyoming Codified Ordinance, the zoning code, provides for the operation of bed and breakfast establishment as special uses. They are subject to an annual review of their operation by the administration and renewal by city council, and you're dealing with some of those special use permit renewals later this evening. The applicants, Ronald M. Wetsey and Allison P. Yeager, initially submitted a special use application for the approval of 10 non-resident guest rooms. In response to the feedback they received at their open house, they requested at the start of the Planning Commission's May 3rd meeting a revision of their application to limit the operation to just 5 non-resident guest rooms, as well as some other changes to the exterior of the property. The revised application also confirmed that they were not requesting the use of the property as an event center, a matter that had concerned several of their potential neighbors. Because the commissioners had not had the opportunity and time to fully review the revised application, they requested the applicants permit us to exercise the option of 45 days so that the commission could consider the revised application at the June 7th meeting. This provided the opportunity too, for those interested in the application to participate in a second time via Zoom platform and or through written messages. The commissioners conclude, after consideration of the changes proposed in the revised application and after evaluating the comments received, including those by the applicable city departments, that the special use application complies with a majority of the criteria specified in section 1197.06 of the city's codified ordinance. 2, required a waiver, and the Planning Commission recommends that such waivers be granted. More specifically, the waivers are for the operation of 5 non-resident guest rooms, whereas the current code limits the number to 3, and up to 10 non-resident guests, whereas current code limits the number to 5. All 5 of the guest rooms will be located on the 2nd floor of the home. In summary, the Planning Commission believes that the May 21st, 2021 special use permit application for the operation of the Hearts of Stern Estate Bed and Breakfast at 333 Oliver Road supports the 2018 master plan by implementing neighborhood improvements and historic preservation, as the property appears to be well suited for the proposed bed and breakfast operation. Questions, and a development officer is available, as I am, to answer any questions you may have.
John, I just want to underscore this because that is the main concern a lot of people had, was the event space. That is off the table. This is only a waiver to allow 5 bedrooms, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion with respect to the report?
Move to receive the report.
Second.
Actually, do we have to, Emily, do the adoption of the report? Can we receive it or we have to adopt it?
We do not have to, we can receive it. There
Or
are
we can adopt. Emily, should I roll that back and adopt the report?
no, it's fine to receive it. There will be a public hearing at the next council meeting, so receiving is appropriate.
Okay.
It is recommended that the report be received. Is there a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
Okay. All right. Any discussion?
Let's just make sure we have the motion correct. I think Sarah had originally made the motion,
Yes.
and I think that had been seconded.
I
By
think
Al?
by Al.
Okay.
Any discussion?
I just want to thank the Planning Commission and John for doing such a thorough job with a potentially or definitely contentious issue for some. It's nice to know we have a planning commission that can take on those kinds of issues
Thank
and do
you.
it so well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. I was sending a lot of emails to people saying, trust the process, there is a process. And having the process prove that out was really nice. So I know the number of emails we were receiving was only a fraction of what you were receiving. So thank you for the time and effort.
Thank you.
Having been moved and second to receive the report, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Those opposed? Motion carries. This is the first reading of the ordinance approving the special use permit for the Hearts of Stearns Bed and Breakfast Establishment located at 333 Oliver Road. The second reading and a public hearing are set for the July 19th City Council meeting. Next order of business, public hearing on the renewal of the special use permits for child daycare and nursery school facilities. The group home facility and the healing space of Cincinnati located in the city of Wyoming. If there's anyone who would like to address the city council or comment, you must access the meeting via Zoom to comment. For safety precautions, if you would like the Zoom link to join the meeting, please email the clerk of council at KZEILMAN@WYOMINGOHIO.gov. This information about how to obtain the Zoom link has also been included in the city council agenda for tonight's meeting, which is available on the city's website. If there's anyone present who would like to address city council, please raise your Zoom virtual hand and wait to be called on this. Then please state your name and address for the record before addressing city council.
I have no virtual hands.
Hearing none, we will move on to the next item of business. Renewal of special use permits for child daycare and nursery school facilities. The group home facility and the health space of Cincinnati located in the city of Wyoming. Do I hear a motion with respect to renewal of the special use permits?
I move the renewal of the permits.
Second,
I can.
is there any discussion? Having been moved and second to renew the special use permits, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Leroy,
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly,
Yes,
Ms. Averett,
Yes.
Ms. Stancorp Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Dane.
Mayor Hoffmeister.
Yes, the motion carries. This is the second reading of the ordinance authorizing the placement of the proposed revisions to the charter of the city of Wyoming on the November 2nd, 2021 ballot and declaring an emergency. The third reading is set for the July 19th, 2021 city council meeting. This is the first reading of the ordinance approving current replacement pages to the codified ordinances of the city of Wyoming declaring an emergency. It is recommended the rules be suspended and the ordinance be considered for adoption tonight. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Having been moved and second to suspend the rules, it takes an affirmative vote of 5 for passage. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Averett,
Yes.
Ms. Stancorp Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Leroy,
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffmeister.
Yes, the motion carries. We will now need a motion to adopt the ordinance tonight. Do I hear a motion with respect to the ordinance?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
is there any discussion? Having been moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance, it takes an affirmative vote of 5 for passage. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Leroy,
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly,
Yes.
Ms. Averett,
Yes.
Ms. Stankhorn Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffmeister.
Yes, the motion carries. Next order of business, proclamation declaring June 2020 Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas June is Prostate Cancer Awareness and Education Month in Ohio, and whereas this year approximately 191,930 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in the United States alone, and roughly 33,330 will die this year from the disease. And whereas in Ohio, an estimated 9,010 new cases of prostate cancer will be diagnosed, an estimated 2,000 deaths will occur in 2021. And whereas men with relatives, father, brother, son with a history of prostate cancer are twice as likely to develop the disease. And whereas prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in American men, behind only lung cancer. And whereas men who serve in the military who have been exposed to chemicals and herbicides are at a higher risk of developing prostate cancer. And whereas 1 in 9 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. African-American men are at the highest risk for the disease with a rate of 1 in 6 and 2.2 times more likely to die from the disease. And whereas education regarding prostate cancer and early detection strategies is critical to saving lives, preserving and protecting our families. The economic and social hardship it has on the families is huge. Prostate cancer is estimated to cost over $8 billion in direct medical expenditures. And whereas nearly 3.1 million men in the United States are living with a prostate cancer diagnosis, that number is estimated to climb to 4 million by 2024 as men in the baby boomer generation age. And whereas all men are at risk of prostate cancer, and we encourage the citizens of the city of Wyoming to increase the importance of prostate screening. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the month of June 2021 is to be known as Prostate Cancer Awareness and Education Month. In the city of Wyoming, and I call upon all residents to make note of this proclamation, give under my hand this 21st day of June in the year 2021. Does anyone have new business not otherwise on the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, this is Zachary Green. I do have some new business.
Okay.
Prior to the business, I would like to give a little bit of background on my motion. I have had my own company now for over 10 years. We do over $10 million in revenue, very similar to the budget of Wyoming. We have hired anywhere between several hundred employees over the decade that we've been in business. The one thing that I've learned without question is that nothing takes the place of on-the-job experience. We have worked with recruiters, we have worked with HR firms, we have worked with direct advertising through different types of job boards. And what that tells you is the person that looks best on paper and the person who interviews. And there's been many times we had people look great on paper that have interviewed fantastic and have been absolute disasters in the job. So with that in mind, I understand that our citizens have circulated a petition where over 300 members of our citizens have circulated a petition to have Rusty appointed as the permanent city manager. With that in mind, I would like to make a motion to suspend the city manager search and immediately appoint Rusty as city manager.
Is there a second?
Can we discuss before a second?
Sure.
If I could just interject.
Please.
My recommendation is we do have an executive session scheduled for tonight. So it might be good to table this motion until after we've had an opportunity to discuss it.
I'll go ahead and table the motion until executive session then.
All right, move on to the next section of miscellaneous. Jeff, do you have anything?
Yes, sir. I have two things. First one is I saw in the weekly notes that the tennis courts had not been worked on for a week, and the city manager is going to check on that. And I was curious if he had an update for us on why the contractor had not worked for a week and where that all stands.
Let me ask Rob. Rob, were you able to talk to the contractor today?
Yes, we have a meeting tomorrow with them at noon.
Okay, so hopefully we'll have an update tomorrow at noon. Last check last week, the engineer still felt that they would be able to get it finished on time.
Okay, excellent. And then, Mr. Mayor, my second thing is I've had a couple residents talk about noticing increased traffic violations, people passing, going up Compton, people passing in the left turn lane on Springfield Pike, people running red lights. And I was curious if our police chief had noticed a similar trend and if there was anything behind that, or if that's something systemic through the whole greater Cincinnati, or what is going on, or people just seeing things that are normally happening, they're just noticing it now.
Well, I would say that traffic violations have definitely been on the increase through, especially as a result of the COVID pandemic. You had a period of time through that pandemic where it was just a real difficult time for law enforcement to figure out how they were going to address those traffic concerns with traffic stops and the pandemic as it existed. I believe for a period of time, also people got used to less people on the road and started driving a little bit faster. We are out there trying to remind people what the traffic regulations are. We do issue tickets. I can tell you that in the last, at least during COVID, our citations are down. So pre-COVID, year to date, so you're talking January through May at this time, pre-COVID, we had about 735 citations. Last year, during the heart of COVID, that was 323 for the same time period. And this year, we're back up to about 400. So we are out there trying to increase that presence, increase that reminder to people traveling through town to slow down, to obey the traffic signals. But it's a community concern. It's a country concern. If you look across the country, the number of accidents, the number of fatal accidents are up. Our culture is just that of the type that wants to get there yesterday. And it's going to take a whole community effort to get people to slow down. And so I'm always encouraging residents, drive on any street like it's the street that your kids play on. So through an effort of just continuing to communicate with the citizens and through additional enforcement efforts, hopefully we'll get people to slow down and get back in check.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Question?
Yep, it's on you.
I'd like Jeremiah to give us an update on how the city will be dealing with the additional funding coming from the American Rescue Plan. At various meetings of OKI and first suburbs, we've had discussions about how the money will be coming through the state of Ohio, municipalities and the like. And I'd like Jeremiah to tell us what we expect from that funding and in what direction that funding will be going.
Sure. I can give you just a quick brief update. I mean, as of this point, in my understanding, there hasn't been any disbursements of the funds to any municipality. We did receive some additional guidance on Friday from the U.S. Treasury that I've started to read through and look at. And also, typically when that happens, we'll also receive some summaries from the Ohio Municipal League, the Government Finance Officers Association, that will provide some insight onto the new guidance. And at this point, there are really 4 areas that you can spend that are approved areas of, direct response to the pandemic. There's a section of a calculation for revenue loss. There's a section for if you in terms of infrastructure, but it's specific to water, sewer, and broadband projects. So those are really the main areas. We're still working through the guidance and looking at how the city can potentially utilize those funds. As more guidance becomes available, obviously we'll provide some more direction and information to City Council. Our main objective will probably really be to see if we're able to utilize those funds for expenses that we have budgeted, and then therefore free up dollars that would be unrestricted to be able to use for whatever council would see fit at that point. So that's kind of the direction that we're heading in and researching. It's just a matter of continuing to get the guidance from U.S. Treasury and then seeing how we can apply that to the city's budget.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I think that's a very good update. Many of the other communities are concerned about what the limitations might be. And to the extent that they might be useful, these funds could enable us to expand some of our water, other systems. If that's the case, then that's very helpful. If there are issues, say that the city is doing things, we'd like to have a peer comparison. How are other cities using, how they, so we get the maximum value from those. And our state legislators at a meeting recently talked about how there's so much, so many resources coming. I'd like to make sure that the city of Wyoming stays on top of them. Thank you.
Sarah?
Just really quick, I wanted to thank the rec department and everyone working at the Family Aquatic Center. That pool being open, it's like a return to normal life. I'm so thrilled. It's just nice to have that little bit of our community back the way we're used to it being.
Excuse me, I'd just like to commend Tess Harper and the other members of the WCIA for putting on the really lovely Juneteenth event this weekend. I know some of us were there, and Rusty was there, and that was a very moving event, and they had a great turnout. And I'm really pleased that they're doing this for our community, working on inclusion and diversity.
Al?
I have nothing. Thank you, though.
Zach?
Nothing.
Again, stay safe and look out for your neighbors. We will now move to, we have no one to excuse, so we will now move to executive session. Under section 121.03B1 of the codified ordinances of the city of Wyoming, council may adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment of a public employee. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I've been moved and second to adjourn to executive session. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Averett,
Yes.
Ms. Dancorp Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Delgado,
Yes.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Leroy,
Yes.
Mr. O'Reilly,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffmeister.
Yes. Council's adjourned to executive session.
Yeah, I'll put everybody in the waiting room. If you could put yourself in the waiting room. I don't know if you can do that. If someone accidentally gets put in the waiting room, I will bring you back, but this keeps It keeps jumping around as I do this, so I might put the wrong person in. In the meeting. Okay, so it looks like I didn't move anybody incorrectly. Do we have all the council members?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So Emily, I'm going to make you the host.
Okay.
Then you can put me in the waiting room. I'm going to turn off the recording first
Yes, please.
and the